Yeah, man. Well, look, we got a guy who's difficult to nail down. Isn't somebody that we see in a ton of interviews. So we're definitely grateful that he's here. No love, the former welterweight champion, uh, Emanuel Muniz. What's up, my brother?
What's up? What's up, dude?
How are you?
Good. I've just been living life, in my own little bubble for a little while, just enjoying things. So I've been good, man.
Yeah, you're a hard man to nail down, man. The limousine styling and profiling is tough to get you down for one of these. Um, Obviously, we're at the very tail end of Road to the Title Season 3. So for you specifically, it's changed a lot in your division. We don't know how rankings are going to shake out, but at one point in time, I'll be honest with you, I felt like welterweight was kind of a sleeper division. Um, you know, Now that there's a guy like you, a guy like Blackburn up at the top, you have some guys that look like maybe they're promising off season 3. You may disagree with that. I'll give you a second to talk about that. But I mean, where do you think your division is at as a whole compared to? Obviously, you've been around since day one. So where do you think welterweight has gone since its inception?
I mean, welterweight's it's a strong division. There's some good competitors. I think right now my only like real issue with it is it's inactive. They've just been inactive outside of me, Chris, and Blackburn, which Chris is kind of out of the picture now. He's been beat twice. Um, there's not been a whole lot of activity. Jules been a little bit active, but outside of the top three right there. So you say me, Blackburn, and Jewel. There's no activity. I mean, Waylon hasn't fought. Provost hasn't fought. Like a lot of those guys in those markings, like those rankings, haven't really fought. So I mean, just it's a good division. There's a lot of talent, but we need to see like more activity, really.
Yeah, so I mean, regarding the guys that are fresh off of season 3, for the ones that we've seen so far that we obviously know, have a win or two depending on who they are. Is there anybody that catches your eye? What are your thoughts overall on the talent, particularly as it relates to your division in this season?
Yeah, so I got to spend some time when they were filming the show, so I got to meet a lot of these guys in person. Got to film out a little bit. I know obviously Waylon was on the show. Um, so for me, I mean, it, they look good. They look like they help fill out the division. Honestly, my only sight right now is getting back to the belt. Whoever they put in front of me, whoever it is next, or whatever it is next, whether it's a rematch or I get someone else like Jewel or someone else. Now I'm focused on getting back to the belt, so I'm worried about the people in front of me, really.
Well, technically, you sitting at the top of the mountain at number one. Obviously, you just were on the wrong side of a decision in your last fight, but it was close, man. I'll be honest. We were there, live. I'm sure you've heard this from the fan base. It was anybody's guess when they were reading off that decision who was the champion. So I know you say just out of sort of respect for the sport and also the willingness to grind back to get there that you're willing to take another person. But do you really think based on how your last fight went, you should have to? And again, you're still sitting at number one.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I would say in a world where there was like a real true number one outside of me or Blackburn obviously was the true number one when it was his turn. Um, then I would say like, oh, okay, like I could see me waiting out or having to go through someone else. But like right now, the only other option that you could even throw up there is Jewel, and not to Jewel's fault, but he's just been unfortunately he's had messy fights, not on his end, but on the other end, which hasn't allowed him to really like showcase himself. Um, so it's hard to say like, oh, Jewel's next because he's just hasn't had impressive performances, not of his own fault, but he just hasn't been able to showcase. So it's not really like a true number one. So if, I am fortunate to run it back with Blackburn. I would see that making the most sense. Obviously, right now we're probably the two highest in the division. Even in terms of pulling numbers and stuff. Him obviously being the champ now. Myself, I've been around in the division. I've been making numbers, so it would make sense. But I really don't care if it was someone else or it was a rematch.
And now, when it comes to this will be my final one before I turn it over to Corey. When it comes to kind of what happened on June 28th, what do you think? What do you think went wrong? What would you change? What tools are you going to refine or sharpen as you look to the future? Should you stand across from Anthony Blackburn again in your next fight?
Yeah, I mean, as everyone saw, it was a really close contested match. Blackburn's a stud too. I mean, he's got a great chin on him. On my end, it was just not my night. Like I was obviously the match was very clean in terms of fouls and stuff, but I just wasn't able to put down my slaps the way I wanted to, and do what I wanted to. So I get the opportunity again. Obviously, I got to perform. I got to the fifth round. Obviously, many would agree I had the biggest slap of the night. Um, I moved him. I was the only, it was the only slap that moved anyone. But I got to put that down 5 times instead of just once or twice.
Awesome, Core.
Manny, talk to me, my man. I know you were on Road to the Title season 1. You come back, Road to the Title season 3. Talk to me about the evolution of the reality show and how things have changed. Have things got more organized? Are the guys getting more, I guess, prep and tape before they get into the show now? Like, talk to me about the evolution of where we're at.
Yeah, man. I mean, so obviously, like you mentioned, I did season 1, and going to season 1, I remember, my very first slap, dude. I was like, I don't know what the hell I don't know what the fuck I'm. I just seen it the other day actually, and I was like, damn, what was I doing? I was just up there. All right, I guess I just slap him. Cool. Called my wind up, and I did goofy little wind up. It was funny, and I ended up getting the knockout. But now you see these guys on season 3. They've been fortunate enough to see us on season 1, season 2. They've been able to see the last 8, 7 power stop events. They get to talk to us on a consistent basis, and some of those guys have been able to learn from us. So you see, they're coming in with techniques. They're coming in with an understanding, a little bit of an understanding. They understand how the sport goes, how to prepare for it a little bit, and how to go about it.
Yeah. Obviously they used you and Chris to kind of parlay the match that was to come. We're not getting it this time around with season 3. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think that's a smart strategic way to build the series to kind of give, top level athletes in the sport the visibility to get these guys that we don't know to kind of bring them up? Or do you think it really matters or not? Do you think a guy like Rob and a guy like Austin still just, raise the stock of the show overall?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It would have been. I'm sure if they could have a grudge match like me and Chris every season, they would, because it's entertaining, it's fun. When it came around to the filming of this season, I don't even think there really was like a whole lot of like designated matches that would fit the bill. So to put up 2 characters like Rob, Rob's been an amazing part of the sport. He's a tremendous athlete. From MMA to slap, has been amazing in slap, and then Turp as well. At the time, obviously this is before they had filmed before his last competition with Byrne, but to that point he'd been amazing. Just knocked out the champ of light heavyweight. So to have 2 guys like that on the show, 2 experienced guys, 2 vets, and 2 characters, I think it was a good idea.
Awesome, man. So there is some rumors swirling around a little bit that AJ Hints is actually trying to drop down again in weight, potentially to 170. Would you welcome that? And would that be a match that would interest you right off the bat?
Oh, I mean, I'm all for matches that make sense, make money. He's a big name. He started off real hot in the sport. He's obviously, had some time off and been working on himself and so on. So, of course, I'd welcome anyone down at 170. I know Wesley talked about it before this last match with Isaiah. I've heard, what's his name? I can't think. Isaiah Ellis talked about it a few times. Both guys I've competed against. So I'd welcome everyone to 170. I'm all for the challenge.
Yeah. I mean, you did it yourself, obviously. And seeing these guys that want to do it, like, do you think, is that a reflection of the state of 170 where it's at right now? Or why do you think we're starting to see more people talk about that?
I think, well, like, for instance, the couple names I just threw out there, Wesley being a little bit heavier, but like Isaiah, I know Isaiah's not that heavy. He's probably weighs about the same as me. When I started out, I was at 185, and I walked around probably on a good day, if I ate good, I probably walked around 187. So for us to naturally come down, a little bit of health and, growing in our learning and stuff like that, but also like, these guys at 185, and you look at Isaiah, Isaiah's 185, and, me and Isaiah work out all the time. Isaiah's huge compared to me. He's fucking massive compared to me. He's a lot bigger than I am. And you're going to see a lot of these smaller guys come down to their proper weight classes. I don't cut a whole lot of weight. like I said, Azael, someone who wouldn't have to cut a whole lot of weight. I know AJ was really small when he competed at 185. He probably wouldn't have to cut a lot of weight, so it makes sense for these guys to come down. It's more natural for them.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? I mean, John Davis, Azael, or sorry, John Davis, Isaiah. How do you think that match is going to go?
Oh man, I love John Davis. John Davis is a cool guy. Obviously, I was on season 1 with him. He's an amazing person. I love John Davis, and I'm glad he's able to reach the top of the sport and reign as long as he has. But I'm Team Isaiah all the way. Like I said, I work out with him pretty regularly. I speak to him pretty regularly. I know the kind of person he is, the kind of effort he puts in, the kind of dedication he has.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely see him getting it done.
Awesome, man. All right, one last one here for you. I don't think you have any beef with the guy, and you probably didn't get to talk to him too much, but I'll bring him in because he's a hard guy to get a hold of. Waylon Frost. What's up, my man?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Waylon's probably harder to get a hold of than I am. Shit.
How you been, man?
Just good, just chilling, just living life.
Yeah, right on.
Awesome, man. 2 OGs from the early days.
Yeah, we got the season 1 OG boys in here
Season
today.
1 OGs.
100%. Both sitting there 170. Would you guys actually want to fight each other?
We talked about it before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it
Fuck
before.
yeah.
Before I had got the match with Chris, before I'd filmed the show and stuff like that, I knew Chris still had a long time before his suspension was up, because I think I had beat Cole in like June of last year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris's suspension was still till like October, September. But me and Waylon had talked about pushing for a match, because I didn't want to wait. I wasn't down for wait. So that's something we've talked about before in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man. Waylon, I'll throw this to you first. We'll get Manny's take second. But what does KO Chris do from here?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't really. He's talked before about wanting to go up to 185. Maybe he goes up. I know he used to naturally be heavyweight. I mean, I've seen photos of him, from not too long ago. He's walked around in the 240s, and that's what he was. So I think it would be easy for him to do if he did want to go up. But I mean, yeah, he's probably going to have to at this point. I mean, I don't really. We're starting to see his chin get hit now. He was never really hit in most of his first matches. He was knocking everybody out with the first slap. So I think we see that. I don't see him climbing back up the rankings at this point.
Gotcha, Manny.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to Waylon's, I think, if he was my friend and I was offering him advice, I'd tell him to take a bunch of time off and really start taking care of his mind, his health, his brain. Realistically, he's probably going to take another match as soon as he can. And, I don't see it going well for him, but, good for him, I guess.
Yeah, well, word on the streets. I mean, street beefs. Him and Amir Nuruddin going down November 23rd. What do you think of that, and how's that going to go for him?
I mean, Chris can't fight. He can't fight at all. I know Amir has some of a wrestling background, and he's actually trained and done MMA before. So pretty easy to say Amir's probably going to smack him up a little bit.
Waylon, does that match actually happen?
So this is it would be 4th time is the charm if it does happen this time. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to bank on it. That's for sure. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I know that Frank, he doesn't really want his guys doing too much things, at least from what I've heard. And I've spoken to Frank about it before. He told me as long as it's like a small promotion or something like that, or, he might be okay. But, I actually wanted to do an MMA match in August or in July, and then Frank, he said hold off. So,
gotcha, my man.
Manny, I have one question. Before you go, I'm going to throw it quite a bit far back. I don't think this has ever been addressed, but you did a video. I think it was at Power Slap 6 at some point with like a TikToker where you slapped I think her leg. What how did that all come together? Like what talk to us about that whole thing.
Yeah, so funny enough, because I didn't know who she was prior to meeting her. And I was at a Nitro Cross event actually, and was I was chilling. There was the one in Vegas is their like season finale, and I was running around doing my thing there, and I kind of met her and her boyfriend there, and I started talking to him a little bit and got to know him a little bit, and kind of just became friends with them. So then, whenever I'm in Vegas or whenever, I come down for Power Stop, it was Power Stop 7 because I wasn't competing. I was talking with them and, we just filmed a video. And that's how it came to be. They're cool people. I hang out with them all the time. Like I said, when I'm here in Vegas, I get to see them, kick it with them. A lot of the influencers, a lot of the people I get to know in the space. So it's been a fun journey for me. It's been fun, meeting people, getting to know people. A lot of people, I guess, are huge fans of.
That's amazing, man. Thank you for that story. I appreciate it.
Awesome, Manny. We appreciate you joining us. We'll let you run, but you got a home here anytime, and look forward to seeing you back up there on stage.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take care, my man.
Later.